Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of my journey to $1 million revenue. And today I'll be sharing with you mighty nuggets, mighty ideas from a very tiny book that I just got. And it's about something that I'm not very good at. It's about selling by Zig Ziglar. So this tiny book here, I read through it like in a few hours. But the lessons that I've learned from this book is very useful for business and for business owners. Although I still need to implement and execute it properly, this book has been really helpful for me. And whenever I read books, I do try to take note of all the ideas that I learned. As you can see, this is my notebook. And I write here the ideas I learned from every book that I read. And today I'll be sharing the ideas that I got from this book and how I am applying it in our business. Tune in, and I hope you will find value in this video. And if you like this video, please hit the like button and do subscribe. One of my weaknesses as a business owner and as an introvert is selling. If I'm going to rate myself as a salesperson, I'd maybe rate myself as a 3 out of 10. But this book has actually taught me strategies that will help me talk to people without being pushy, without being salesy. And I'm so happy to share these tips with you. So the first idea that I got from this book is about convincing versus persuading. You can convince someone to believe in your product, but you cannot convince someone to purchase your product. But you can persuade someone to purchase your product by not telling how good your product is, but by asking questions. This is something that I learned from this book, is when you try to talk to your clients, talk to your customers and prospects, is to ask a lot of questions. Even Alice Ramosi has advised this. Whenever you meet someone new or whenever you're talking to clients, you should ask more questions versus telling how good your product is. I feel like sometimes people are overselling their products, telling me how good their products are, what their products do. Most people actually don't like being sold to. So if you're meeting a client for the first time or a prospect for the first time, the best thing to do is ask. So this is actually something that I'm very comfortable with because I like listening and I like asking and I like to get to know my customers and my clients or someone that I just met. So according to this book, better you ask the questions and listen to the answers. You'll get more insights of what they need, what their problem is, and how your service or your product can solve their problem. I like highlighting books whenever I read them. So like I know some consider it as a mortal sin. And one of the lessons that I have highlighted here, which matches my core value, is always learn something new every day. So that's what's one thing this book has taught me as well. By asking questions, your clients and customers, you get to know something new every day. And this will help you actually to be one step ahead. Because then you know more about your clients and then you can address their needs and address their issues or concerns. And whatever drawbacks they may have. Talking is sharing, but listening is caring. So people like to feel that you genuinely care about them. And when they see that you genuinely care about them, they feel indebted to you. They feel they owe you something when you listen. And here's another tip that I learned from this book, which I think you should be taking note of, is most people like to listen at the same speed they speak. We should mirror how people speak, how people act. And then if they're funny and loud, you can then also be funny and loud. You can speak fast if they speak fast. But try to adapt with how the person reacts to you and how they speak to you. And one very important lesson that I've learned from this book as well is you can have everything in life you want if you will just help enough people get what they want. But I think it's not just in sales. It's better for you to serve others. That's another core value that I really believe in, that we should be serving others and we should be thinking of how we can help others. This is also the reason I'm filming these videos, is I want to give value, not just because I want to get likes or follows or I want to get sales, but because I want to help other people. Someone actually told me that, why are you filming these videos when nobody's watching? I said, even if it's just one person, even if I just help one person, inspire one person, give value to one person, for me that is enough. So I think it's very important for you to help others. Reading this book, I realized that actually selling is not about really presenting the product, convincing someone else, but it's about building relationships and it's about trying to genuinely help someone. According to this book as well, if you think you cannot sell it to your family and friends, then you won't be able to sell it to someone else. If you think that your product or service is not good enough for your family and friends, but if you really believe in your product or service, you're not already thinking about selling, but you're thinking about helping other people. This part of the book is something that I'm currently working on and something that I need to improve on, and it is prospecting. What is prospecting? It is finding the right people who will buy your products or services. According to Zig Ziglar, you should always be prospecting. So how do you do that? By showing genuine interest to the people that you meet, to the people that you're targeting, and to the people that you build relationships with. Because sometimes it's not you're directly connecting to the customer, but you're connecting to your network, who will then connect you to your customers. So especially for me, I think this is very effective, is for you not to directly sell to a person, but ask that person to refer a friend to you. Instead of selling directly to them, ask them to introduce you to a friend who might need your product or service. This triggers like, hey, I think I might need your service as well. People do not want to be sold to. So when they hear someone asking for help, some actually people like to help out. When you ask them to introduce you to a friend who might need your service or product, the next step, according to this book, in prospecting, is discovering your prospects' needs and discovering the problems you want to solve for them. So again, how do you get this? We'll go back to the first lesson, is ask. And not only ask, you should also be ready to listen. The next lesson I took note of, which I think I can improve on easily, is highlighting what the product does for us. Most businesses and brands make a mistake when they try to sell the product or their service, but instead they should be selling what the product gives, like the benefit of the product, not the features of the product. My first job in the Philippines after I graduated from university was I got into a company that sells beds. So I was an interior design graduate, and I was expecting to get a job that will help me be part of the interior design team or in visual merchandising of the store. I stayed in that company for just 6 months, especially when my role evolved into more of sales. When I joined that company, they taught me what they're selling. So, for example, that bed. So they taught us like, this bed has this features, this bed has that features. So that's how we talk to our clients, by selling the features of the product. But instead, what we should have been taught what the product does. It will give you good sleep. It will help you reduce back pain. It should help you have a restful sleep. So those are the things that the product does, and they should have educated us more on those things versus what the features of the beds are. According to this book, lead with need. So what does lead with need means? Whenever I talk to the clients, I probe what their need is, what problems they need to be solved. For example, we're in video marketing, content marketing. So what we ask them is like, what is your current problem with your current content? And what do you need right now? Most of the time, they need some content creators for their brand and company, and that's why they need someone who will create the content for them creatively and professionally. And that's where we are good at. So instead of just saying we are award-winning directors, we have award-winning filmmakers, what we address the need of the person. It will help you generate more leads. It can help you generate more views. So this is what we lead with. First, we do ask what their problem is. Another thing that the book taught me about is fear is the strongest emotion. Some people buy because of FOMO, fear of missing out. Some people buy because it's limited quantity. Some people buy because it's the last day of sales. So people do not want to miss out. People do not want to lose something. So I think this is very helpful, leading with that knowledge of fear is the greatest emotion that someone can face. And a lot of people get urged because of their fear of missing out or fear of losing a great deal. Zig Ziglar mentioned POGO in his book. What are these questions? Ask people questions. The next one is ask O, organizational questions. What is the organization about? What are they currently facing? And then, what problems you can solve for them. G is their goals. What are the goals of the company? When you discover their goals, then you can easily pitch your product or your service to them, because when you try to meet their goals, you are helping them. Most people will reciprocate it one way or another. They might introduce you to a friend. They might give you a sale. But it's always a win-win situation when you try to help other people. And the last is O, obstacles. What are the obstacles they're facing for them to achieve that goal? So POGO, people question, ask questions. that will get to know the person you're talking to, ask about their organization, ask about their goals, and what are the obstacles they're facing to achieve those goals. So then your questions can flow according to this POGO. This can be your outline when asking questions, especially when you're selling to B2B. Another thing that the book has taught me is the difference between features, function, and benefits. So whenever we're selling, especially in video content, they tell us the features and the functions of their product. But this based on study that people buy and people relate more to a brand or a product or a service if they feel that it is beneficial for them. So don't sell the features and the function, but tell the story of how your product is going to benefit them. Use stories to tell the benefit of the product. And again, lead with the need. Always show how this will solve their problem. So this technique that I learned from this book is actually very helpful in video content marketing, and not only video, but visual content like in photography, and how we can help build strategies for businesses. And now let's go to closing of the sale. So how do you close the sale? So this is really something that I must work on as a business owner. I know some of you have sales people, but as a founder and as a business owner, you are your best salesperson still. You are the best face of the brand. And of course, sometimes you do not have to close the sale. Some of your big clients would still want to talk to you. Yes or no, right? So people still look for you, especially your big clients. They like to interact with the founder, who's the owner of the business. And then you should know these techniques whenever closing your sale. So number one, this technique is learn to ask. Ask for the sale. Sometimes this is something that I really need to improve on. I really need to be direct and ask for the sale. Are you ready to sign the contract? I think I should repeat that over and over to be able to get used to it. Are you ready to sign the contract? Are you happy with all the benefits that I've shown you? Are you happy with the quotation or the proposal? So these are the things that you should ask. So whenever you're in a discussion, in a meeting with your client, is know when to ask. If they say no, so this is something that I need to also practice on. So you will see the objections on their faces. Now you have to ask what the objection is, or what is the drawback, why they're not signing or why they're not ready to confirm. So this is something that is also I need to really practice. This book has really given a lot of tips. For example, when they say, this is my objection, I think it's too expensive, then the book actually gave us this script. It is actually going to be helpful. And I think I should be practicing this is, if money is not the problem, or if blank, whatever objection they have, is not an issue, will you book our service or will you buy our product? Asking that question, if this objection is not an issue, will you sign the contract? So then at least by asking this question, you'll know what really is the matter. Once they present to you their objections and their drawbacks, you can present another solution, which is the next step. And after that, if they still say no, you can just ask again your follow-up question. Maybe you know a friend who you can introduce me to. When someone turns you down, they feel they owe you something because you have spent time talking to them, presenting to them. I also feel the same. I will say no. And then, I sometimes feel sorry because they have spent so much time. They've met me. They went to my office. They went to my home. And then in the end, I will still say no. So whenever they say, can you introduce me to a friend who might need our service? Whenever you're meeting a client, make sure you take down notes, because it also shows that you genuinely listen and you genuinely really care about what they're saying. When you go back after meeting that person, you can analyze all the data you've gathered, analyze what the objections you received. And this book is actually really nice and kind and considerate, because they said it takes time to practice. You won't get it on the first try. So selling is really hard. Not everyone is a born seller. I'm not. But I can build relationships and I can generally show someone that I care for them. And I do. And I think that's one thing that, can be a positive point for me, that can help me get the sale that I want. I just need to practice the techniques that I learned from this book, and hopefully sooner or later, with practice and in time, I will be a good salesperson. I hope you found value in this video. This is not an expensive book. You can get it anywhere. I will share also a link in the description where you can purchase it. And if you found value in this video, make sure you hit the like button, share this with your friends. And I hope to see you in the next one. Have a blessed day.